A leadership change at the top of the FCC Space Bureau, and a Florida company signs a deal for the largest dedicated commercial microgravity research mission ever flown. I'm Tom Patton, and this is Space Commerce Week. Federal Communications Commission Chair Brendan Carr says Space Bureau Chief Jay Schwarz will leave his post later this month, with Deputy Bureau Chief Jennifer Gilsenan taking over as acting chief during the transition. Schwarz led the Bureau, which handles licensing and policy for satellite and space-based communications, through a period of expanded processing targets and a rewrite of the agency's space rules. On July 22nd, the Commission voted to adopt a report and order replacing the decades-old Part 25 licensing framework with a new Part 100. Carr credited Schwarz and Space Bureau staff with cutting the agency's licensing backlog by 43% in Schwarz's first year and by another 15% so far this year. The Commission's announcement did not specify Schwarz's exact departure date or his next role. Gilsenan will lead the Bureau on an acting basis until a permanent successor is named. A new satellite market forecast projects satellites that refuel, repair, or extend the working life of other spacecraft will generate roughly $3 billion in cumulative revenue over the next 10 years. The forecast comes from Novaspace, a Paris-based space industry research and consulting firm, in a report titled In-Orbit Services Markets. The firm says early demand is coming largely from government and defense agencies working to make satellite refueling a standing military capability. Satellite refueling is expected to be the largest segment of that market, representing a projected $1.2 billion opportunity over the decade. Life extension services delivered through docking hardware attached to a client satellite, a method the report calls backpacking, are projected to generate an estimated $860 million over the same period. Novaspace says the sector remains at varying levels of maturity, ranging from early concepts to limited commercial operations, and that the model is based on more than 10 years of projected mission activity and dollar value. Redwire subsidiary Space Microgravity Development has signed a contract to fly up to 32 pharmaceutical research payloads aboard SpaceX's new Starfall spacecraft in 2028. The company, known as SpaceMD, says the mission would be the largest dedicated commercial microgravity research flight ever conducted. Under the agreement, SpaceMD's payloads would fly a next-generation version of its pharmaceutical in-space laboratory, or pillbox, sized to fill the entire Starfall vehicle. The announcement did not disclose the contract's value or which drug candidates would fly. SpaceMD has flown 54 pillbox units to the International Space Station since November 2023, with 12 more scheduled to launch between September and December of this year. The company says it has crystallized 45 unique compounds through that program, including insulin and molecules targeting cancer, cardiovascular disease, obesity, and diabetes. The announcement comes as the federal government's mission authorization framework for novel commercial space activities remains under development. Officials from the Commerce Department's Office of Space Commerce addressed the deal in a recent panel discussion, saying that framework is advancing with input from industry and other federal agencies. Taylor Jordan, director of the Office of Space Commerce, said that commercial space activities will soon be moving beyond Earth observation and communications.
Soon you will see on the Federal Register a call for applications to begin the process of authorizing all these new novel technologies.
Gabriel Swinney, acting deputy director of the Office of Space Commerce, tied the announcement to a broader administration goal of drawing $50 billion in additional investment into the commercial space sector, calling the deal significant beyond the two companies involved.
Obviously, this is an enormous deal, not just for Redwire and for SpaceX and all involved, but for the entire space community, because what it takes is to prove that this is possible. Prove that it is possible to use space and the capabilities that space can bring to do things that we've never done before in space. That's what will unlock the rest of space for all the other companies and ultimately those American people and the benefits.
When we come back, a new weather satellite clears a significant milestone, and a major prime plans 3 lunar infrastructure missions. Stay with us.
Want to stay ahead in the fast-moving world of space commerce? The Journal of Space Commerce from Xterra Media delivers the insights you need, from market trends to supply chain risks. Our free updates keep you informed, and our podcasts introduce you to influential leaders in the industry. Paid subscribers unlock exclusive access to in-depth articles and detailed analysis you won't find anywhere else. Subscribe to the Journal of Space Commerce today at www.xterrajsc.com.
Welcome back to Space Commerce Week. I'm Tom Patton. A new set of atmospheric sensing satellites from Planet IQ has finished manufacturing and testing, clearing a milestone toward a launch planned later this year. The Golden, Colorado-based company builds and operates a commercial satellite constellation using GNSS radio occultation, or GNSRO technology, to measure atmospheric conditions for weather forecasting and space weather monitoring. The new spacecraft are the next generation of Planet IQ's GNOMES satellites and carry the company's Pixus sensors, which Planet IQ says can track signals from all 4 major GNSS constellations: GPS, Beidou, GLONASS, and Galileo, using a 75-degree limb-sounding field of view. Planet IQ says its data is used by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the European Centre for Medium-Range Weather Forecasts, and the UK Met Office, along with the US Space Force, Air Force, and Navy. The satellites are expected to ship for launch integration in the coming weeks. Planet IQ did not specify a launch date, vehicle, or launch site. The Canadian Space Agency intends to redirect existing Canadarm3 investment to support the next phase of lunar exploration under NASA's Artemis program. Canadarm3, developed under contract with MDA Space, was originally conceived as Canada's robotic contribution to Gateway, the lunar orbiting station NASA announced in March it would pause in its current form as the agency shifts its Artemis architecture towards a surface-based moon base. Still, the underlying Canadarm3 technology will be kept in place, focusing the agency's work with MDA toward lunar surface operations, including cargo transport, infrastructure deployment, scientific exploration, site inspection, and astronaut assistance. Canada's Minister of Industry, Melanie Joly, tied the move to broader economic goals, framing the investment as a way to build domestic companies, talent, and capabilities. MDA Space CEO Mike Greenlee welcomed the shift, citing the company's 4-decade history in space robotics following the Artemis II mission around the moon. The agency's release did not specify new funding, a signed contract amendment, or a timeline for lunar deployment, describing the change only as an intention to adapt work already underway. Continued access to low Earth orbit, the agency said, remains part of Canada's broader industrial-based strategy. And Northrop Grumman is developing 3 demonstration missions designed to test whether spacecraft systems can survive the 2-week lunar night and support a sustained human outpost near the moon's south pole. The missions, designated LID 1, 2, and 3, are intended to help NASA mature the power and data systems needed for a future moon base under the Artemis program. According to the company, the missions will repurpose hardware and technologies developed for the Habitation and Logistics Outpost, or HALO, a module Northrop Grumman built for Gateway. The company said HALO's existing power, data, and mechanical systems can now be applied to the new surface-focused demonstrations. The demonstrations are designed to show that surface hardware can stay powered, protected, and connected through the lunar night and periods of shadow, data NASA would use to plan future Artemis surface campaigns. Northrop Grumman's announcement did not include launch dates, mission costs, or the contract or funding vehicle under which the work is being performed. And that's Space Commerce Week for Sunday, August 16th. I'm Tom Patton. Thanks for joining us.
Space Commerce Week is a production of Xterra Media. Space Commerce Week is sourced from the Journal of Space Commerce, the only publication systematically covering the entire space commerce value chain, from supply chain to satellite operations to terrestrial applications. If you're a decision maker or investor in the space commerce industry, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Paid subscribers have first access to premium articles and podcasts focused on the space value chain. From market analyses to regulatory developments and company spotlights, paid subscribers will find valuable data to help you make informed decisions. Just visit www.xterrajsc.com on Substack and help keep the Journal of Space Commerce the industry's only independent source for space commerce intelligence for business leaders.